Good afternoon, I'm Faye Barker. The Home Secretary says new data showing existing COVID vaccine offer high levels of protection against the Indian variant is positive, but has warned it's not green lights all the way for ending restrictions next month. A study by Public Health England shows both the Pfizer and AstraZeneca jabs work almost as well against the new strain as they do to fight the Kent variant in preventing symptoms. However, the report has highlighted the importance of people having 2 doses. Katie Barnfield has more.
As ever more jabs go into arms across the UK, some positive news about how much protection they offer. A new study shows they are almost as effective against the new Indian variant as other strains, but only if you get both doses.
You can look at this as a sort of glass 3/4 full. The figures they're coming up with do suggest at least a modest reduction in the effectiveness of the vaccine protection against this variant, in particular after 1 dose. So I think we should be pleased that we've still got vaccines that work, but we should also acknowledge that we may be in a slightly worse situation than we were before.
The study found that the Pfizer vaccine was 88% effective at preventing symptoms of the Indian coronavirus variant 2 weeks after the second dose. The AstraZeneca vaccine was 60% effective after 2 doses, but 1 dose of either vaccine gave just 33% protection. The government has now given out 60 million vaccine doses, with people as young as 32 now being invited to book their jabs. While this study has given ministers renewed hope for the lifting of restrictions as planned on June the 21st, the Home Secretary warned people to be cautious in their optimism.
The data is positive in terms of where we are, and look at the vaccine information that's been published today about the level of protection against specific variants. But that doesn't mean, of course, that, it's the green light all the way. There are stages which we will follow.
Cases of the new variant are still rising, with most concentrated in the northwest. Surge testing is also being expanded in West London and has already started in North Tyneside. The next few weeks will be crucial for ministers in deciding if the roadmap out of lockdown will be the route we take after all. Katie Barnfield, ITV News.
The Home Secretary also denied earlier the government was following a policy of herd immunity in the early months of the pandemic. Boris Johnson's former advisor, Dominic Cummings, made new allegations about the strategy last night on Twitter. Well, our political correspondent, Carl Dinnan, joins me now. So, Carl, what is Dominic Cummings alleging?
Well, he's going to appear before MPs on Wednesday. And as you say, over the last few days, he's been tweeting away all his evidence. And the most contentious claim he makes is that the government had this policy in March of last year of achieving herd immunity without a vaccine. In other words, letting the virus rip through the population in order for people to build up natural immunity. Now, the government flatly denied that was the case, but Mr. Cummings says in his tweets herd immunity by September was literally the official plan in all documents, graphs, meetings, until it was ditched. In the week of March 9th, Number 10 was made aware by various people that the official plan would lead to catastrophe, and it was then replaced. But he says adhering to that plan was what was fundamental to the whole disaster around the first lockdown. As I say, government ministers up to and including the Home Secretary this morning say absolutely not. Herd immunity was never our plan. So who to believe? Well, if Mr. Cummings is right, there will be documents, graphs and all sorts of other evidence that this was the plan, and he has taken a large amount of that away with him when he left Downing Street, and we would expect him to produce that in front of MPs to prove that he's right if he's got it. OK,
Carl, thank you. Journalist Martin Bashir says he doesn't believe he's harmed Princess Diana in any way following his controversial interview with her in 1995. In his first interview since the Dyson report was published, Mr Bashir's told the Sunday Times he's deeply sorry to her sons, the Dukes of Cambridge and Sussex, but rejected claims that he fuelled her paranoia. The Home Secretary says the BBC's reputation has been compromised and the corporation's oversight rules will be looked at during a review of the BBC Charter next spring.
there will be an opportunity specifically on the governance of the BBC, where there will be an opportunity not only for reflection, but an opportunity to look at governance reforms and how effectively accountability and governance can be strengthened. There will be a very, very significant moment now, there's no question about this, where lessons have to be learned.
Congo's Mount Nyiragongo has erupted for the first time in nearly 2 decades. The volcano sent lava onto a major highway, forcing thousands of residents to flee the nearby city of Goma, home to 2 million people. Officials said the lava flow had reached the edge of the city's airport. No casualties have been reported so far. In China, 21 people have died after extreme weather hit a mountain marathon race. Hail, high winds and freezing rain struck the event, with a number of runners falling from narrow trails down deep ravines. Following an overnight rescue, the other 151 participants are now confirmed safe. Finally, the UK scored 0 points for only the second time in Eurovision history last night.
Out of the embers, you and I gonna light up the room.
James Newman's Embers wasn't fancied by either the judges' panels or the public vote. It means he's followed in the footsteps of Gemini, the last UK entry to score 0 back in 2003. The title this year went to Italy. Well, the contest's winners with over 500 more points than Britain were glam rock band Måneskin. Watched by a crowd of 3,500 in Rotterdam, they held off strong challengers from France and Switzerland to win. That's it. We're back with the evening news at 5 to 7. Until then, enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye.